Good morning, everyone. It's a beautiful day here in the Hudson Valley. (21 degrees) Monday morning. Today we'll do a DIY. We're going to show you how to safely, as a homeowner, a handyman, got to be a little bit handy to do this. Not everybody can do it. You can try. We'll give you enough information to get it done on how to remove your above ground oil tank in the basement, in the garage. But there are a few things that I'm going to advise you do, just so if you go to sell your property during a transaction, attorney may ask for it. The first thing, just make a phone call to your township and see if they require a building permit. Most of them require a building permit to do anything because they want your money. So just look into that, because if you go to closing, the buyer's attorney, you say, oh, we saw that there was a tank there. Or you say, we took it out. Well, did you get permits? That'll be their first question. Did you get permits? Because they want to make sure everything that was done structurally to the home is up to local code. So get a permit, not a big deal. You can get a permit as a homeowner and do this. And then their inspection, most of the time, is when they come, they just want to see the tank off to the side, cut up and cleaned, which you can do. I know it may sound a little scary to some people, but you can handle it. So that's what we're going to do today. We have 2 above ground tank removals. Hey Craig, where are these tanks? Where are these tanks? I know they're in Monroe, but where in the home? In the basement. Okay, so they're in the basement. So that's cool, because these things are so awkward and they're 300 pounds. So it's difficult to know actually how to carry them. We have a little trick, a little tip that'll show you how to do that. And I'll release that information, which my competitors will see. So I'll essentially help build their company, make them better, which that's fine. Well, everybody's happy in the end, you know? Plenty of tanks to go around for everybody, folks. This little device, and we will hook it up later and I'll show you. Boy, Johnny's work is pretty impressive. We'll show you how that works, but this is going to help blow out all the product in our lines, even up to a 100-foot run, and it's going to prime all of our pumps. So this is going to be a lifesaver, we hope, that we devised. So we will see you out in Monroe for, I think it's our first DIY project. And we just keep getting better and better. Okay, we have reached our destination. Craig's got us in down here. We will go introduce ourselves to the homeowner. And look at what we got going on. Well, that was embarrassing. We went to the door and a nice old gentleman came out. Not sure he had any clothes on, but he had a robe. And we are at the wrong address. Hey, Craigie.
This is right my phone.
He said this is West Monbassia.
I'm at where Casey sent me.
All right. He said it's on the other side of the lake. Do you know where that is?
Yeah.
You do? Because I don't.
That's like by the Lewis's old house.
Oh, it's over by Dottie and Jim?
No. Like, yeah. Looks like,
all right. Well, I'm ahead of you now, so you want to give me it, and then I'll...
Well, no. This is what I got. So what do I type in? East Monbassia?
Yeah. Okay. It's a Monday. This the day this stuff's supposed to happen. At least we had a nice gentleman. Should I have asked if he had an oil tank? All right, so this is our access in. Got the lighting set up. So we've got a manifold system here. So a manifold system has a crossover on the bottom. So obviously we shut off both valves on this. And then we'll cut that. Keep pads underneath it. We're going to dismantle the piping right here. And this will give us access to get in because we've got a pump. If you can see, it's half full. So when you manifold the tank system, it's no longer 2 tanks. It becomes 1 tank. So there's 550 gallons here. So that means there's about a little over 223, 27 gallons. So once we dismantle that, we'll get our drop tube, screen it, we'll put it in, we're gonna go out the window. We've already let the homeowner know there was a break in it, and we'll pump it all out. For you as a homeowner, you can go to a hardware store or Amazon. They make these little pumps that go on a garden hose. They're about $125. For you, there'd be an issue here because there's 200 gallons. So at this point in time, you'd have to buy 55-gallon poly drums, which I'm sure now makes it a larger project. Or you can go to your local auto mechanic dealer and ask him who he has come and pump his oil. He'll come with a tanker. So he may come here and pump it for you at a fee. But once it gets to this amount of gallonage, it's an expert level DIY project, but still accomplishable. It's not like you're going to get 5-gallon gas drums. That's what I was going to offer you to do, but it becomes a larger project when you've got 250 gallons. So, but we're going to still try to continue to help see if we can get that done for you. We're ready to cut. Thank you, Corey. So this is called a crossover. The reason why this crossover here is because here is your fill. So when the oil comes in that, it needs pressure or the air to go. So it goes over to the second tank where it's then vented out. The oil level will cross over through here, but also once the tank gets full to 100% capacity, it also pushes it over there. So Corey's going to cut that pipe now. All right, so I know you saw those sparks there, and you're probably saying, "Geez, isn't that dangerous?" Fuel oil is flammable. It's not combustionable. In other words, if we cut that tank completely open like we normally do, and you see all that oil in it, if we took a match and threw it in there, it would just burn like a candle. It wouldn't explode. So that's why there's no fear creating a problem. I've never started a fire cutting a tank with number 2 fuel oil, never once. But if it is a gas tank, that's combustionable. We dry ice it. We put dry ice in, we close it all. It creates a bed that covers all the explosive gases, so we're able to cut. But also when we're up top cutting it, we're constantly feeding oil on the blade to cut down or reduce any sparking. So gas tanks, not a DIY project. Call a professional. He's full. That gauge is definitely not reading right.
A lot in
So
there?
that's another thing. If you're going to cut into the tank like that, don't trust the gauge. So make your cut a little bit higher than you would think based on the level, because the gauge may not be working. That could have been full, which would have been a catastrophe. You still using the initial blade over there? I think so. There's one. There's a new one. Is that a new blade?
No, he's gonna get this one and he's gonna like it. Oh, come on.
I'll show you the blades we use. Milwaukee's the product. Milwaukee Sawzall. Also, let's see that blade. That's what we use. It's taken us, what, 18 years to figure out those are the best blades. And that Sawzall's the best Sawzall to use. So we are pumping now. Let's get a look at that red oil, Corey. There you go. Nice red oil. Open that door so we can see a little better, maybe. There you go. There it is. So we pumped those two dry. And then you're thinking you could probably just pull those tanks out and take them to a scrap yard. No. As soon as you go to the scrap yard, someone will walk right up to make sure that that tank is completely swabbed dry. So you don't have to buy a bale of those absorbent pads that we use, because that's expensive. You can go on Amazon.com and you get these little environmental, it looks like they're a paper towel. You buy one of those and you'll be able to clean it out pretty good with that. You environmentally should dispose of those spent paper towels after you clean it. And if you want to do that, which you should, that guy that's taken the little bit of sludge, I didn't mention it, but if there is a little bit of sludge or oil in that, that's how you would get rid of it as a homeowner. You get 4 or 5 5-gallon gas cans, you put it in there, and then you could bring those to the guy who does your oil changes and ask him if he can get rid of it for you. He'll go in the back and he'll dump it in his big 500-gallon tank for you. So that's how you would get rid of it. But then after you remove all that, then you've got to cut the tank more into a larger area so you can get in, and then you got to swab it dry, because you got to get a scrap disposal documentation from the junkyard that they accepted the tank. You put your name, your address on it, and then you bring that back to the town, and the oil change guy that took your oil, you just have him write something for you. You bring that back to the town, and then they can close out the permit, because those are the two items that they need. That essentially would be the hardest thing for a homeowner, is doing that, all that paperwork. And I do recommend you get a permit, because if you are going to try to sell, it'll rear its ugly head. That question will come up, because there will be evidence that there was an above ground oil tank that the home inspection agency will find. So when those questions come up, you need answers, you need the right answers. Because then if you don't have all that proper information, then they say, you know what, you got to have an environmental guy come and do a tank sweep. If it was inside, sometimes they make you do a bore through the subfloor to make sure none leaked out. So you just take care of these couple of things along the way, there won't be a problem. Or you can hire an environmental company, or me, if you're in the Hudson Valley region. We'd be more than happy to take care of it. A project like this, just to give you an idea, you could probably, all the companies range differently. Your oil company will probably do this, but I think they'll be the most expensive guy. It'll range as low as $900, and it'll go all the way up to $2,000 to remove one tank. This customer right here, we're taking care of both of them for $1,300 for him, because it's going to take us 2 hours. Okay, thank you. Hey, do you know how many gallons per minute this pump is?
I think it's supposed to be 18.
That's 18 gallons per minute, and that is a $900 to $1,000 pump with 1 3/4 hoses. So if you go get one of those small pumps and a garden hose, that'll take you probably an hour and a half to pump half of it. So keep that in mind, but still doable for a homeowner. An elevated, skilled homeowner. Because once you spill this stuff on this concrete floor, this concrete is a porous material. It absorbs it. And it smells. It smells for a while. Can't really get rid of it. You got to scrub it with, what's that stuff called? Simple Green product. Maybe a little Biosolve. And if that doesn't do it, you actually have to chip the piece of concrete out and then just reparge it. So the more I explain this, it seems like the more you shouldn't do it as a homeowner. But this is about as DIY of anything that we do that you can do. All right, so quite a bit of sludge there, you see. So we're gonna cut those and clean them. And we're now pumping the other tank. Oh yeah. All right, so we pulled that out, disconnected it. Got our shut-off valve on, so none of the oil comes back. Craig will put that cap on. We'll put our gauge to it.
Make sure Corey's ready though.
We want to make sure that Corey is ready inside because it actually got a nice little kick to it once we open it.
Corey, got it? Yeah. Out of the oil. Ready?
Yep. Gotta go slow. I don't want to damage any of the gaskets. Oh, if you can hear it, but it's flowing. Now give him a burst. Scaredy cat. Pull that trigger. Alright. Alright, so this is the bottom crossover. This is used actually to level the tanks out because the suction line for the burner, it comes from only one of the tanks. So when the burner kicks on and it draws fuel from this one, that's how it levels the two tanks out, right here with this bottom crossover. So Craig got both valves shut off, so none of the little bit of sludge or whatever's left. But you're always going to get a little bit of residue coming out, so protect yourself with these pads underneath, because you're always going to get a little bit of spillage. And if you just, there you go.
A little water.
Yep, I had water in it. That too. Craig will probably jam something in there now, so we'll pull these out one at a time. Begin to cut them and clean them, and then we'll take them out one at a time. Make sure you do that because once you get the Sawzall on it, the tanks begin to shake violently. So also once you pull the tank out, just make sure you check underneath the belly of the tank that you're not getting any pitting, bubbles, or flaking, because if that bottom is on the verge of letting go, when you do hit it with the Sawzall and shake it, that's when it does let go. It's happened to all of us, I think, hasn't it?
Oh yeah.
So that's happened to all of us. And now there's a concern because there was water in both the tanks. And you're going to get that either with a bad load of oil, bad load of oil delivery, or the condensation. And even though this is a climate control room, if you keep your tanks half full to empty. The airspace in a tank is called ullage. If you have a large ullage, that's how you create the condensation. It's a larger area, outside versus inside, where you'll get the moisture buildup. The water is heavier than fuel. It flows down to the bottom, so I'm anxious to see if the bottom of these tanks have rust on it. We ready? Okay, let's pull one of them out, whichever one you want.
I'm gonna hold that for you while you phone.
Say if you perfected your wheels, we could just.
I know. I thought of that. Okay, so now we're gonna get the Sawzall again. We'll cut from here. Corey will cut it down and around. Probably maybe want to cut the other side, or do this. I can do this side for, because you have the metal doubled right there. But cut it right from here.
Okay.
Got a new blade core?
No.
Why not? It'll cut quicker. Go ahead, brother.
trusted you completely.
Okay, we've opened up one of our 55-gallon drums here. So we're gonna start spackle bucketing that sludge out into it. Isn't very good. And that is the standard 10-inch spackle knife tank cleaning tool. So you can see you can clean it pretty good with that. Maybe some paper towels so you don't have to go out and buy those expensive absorbent pads would work. But you can see how it is oxidizing down there in the bottom of the tank. Alright, so now this is a great product, but don't for a minute think that these things are resealable. It never works. It's a one-time use. So get all your foam-filled projects together, because it doesn't work. We've tried a million times, so. But it is a good product. I'm just trying to get it in there as far as I can so it's nice and flush on the outside. This stuff will continue to expand probably for 15 minutes. Go see how this, watch how much this foam expands out. So once it's almost all the way hardened, we'll probably be gone before it's all the way hardened. You just take that little Sawzall blade and cut behind it and cut it flush. Or a lot of times I'll cut it back to about that much and then I'll put a concrete over it. We use a marine concrete. Comes in a paste, so you can just put it right on with a spackle. I do that when we deal with lines that go underground in through the basement. We'll actually caulk it with a marine caulk first, and then that marine concrete, because it's designed to repel water. Rusting all in the back. That's in bad shape right there. There must have been some water that was dripping on it. Good job, Corey. Yeah. So I'm trying to get a hold of the homeowner. We didn't bring a wheelbarrow with us, but I don't want to leave this like this. I want to get that out of there. Yeah, so they must have had a break in one of their lines. Because you can see this right here. That's all the rust off of the tank, believe it or not. It's all rust flaking off that tank. Had a little plumbing problem. We'll go get at one of our spackle buckets. We'll put it in our spackle bucket. Clean that all up. Here comes Jammer to the rescue. And we'll get that all cleaned up. Okay, this is the final product. Craig did a good job cleaning that up. That's actually going to continue to bleed out slowly. But it turned out a little bit better than that one. Where I put the tape on outside. We've done this a few times. You pull that tape out any sooner than 24 hours, it just comes right out like one of those little Play-Doh machines. So we're gonna tell him to leave this, and then sometime tomorrow pull that tape off, and the yellow should come close to matching again, a little bit better than that final product. But that's it. It's as close as we can get with a DIY, folks. I still recommend you hire a professional, but I appreciate everybody watching. That was pretty fun. What time is it?
9:33.
9:33. Took us an hour and a half. Give it a shot. Attempt it. Make sure you get the paperwork, do a permit, get that all taken care of. That's the important part of all this. Obviously not spilling fuel, but I gave you all the information I could. Hopefully it's helpful. But as always, folks, that's absolutely another fine job by Tank Masters Environmental. We will catch you on the next one.